Can you guys hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay. All right. I'm just going to go grab my props. Make sure you get your props for class, your yoga bolster, your sofa cushion, all those other great things, strap, yoga blocks, everything that you like to use to help you access the stretching that we're going to be doing. Okay. And then we'll get started.
How are you?
Mute. There we go.
Okay. Good.
Where do you live?
Wilmington, Delaware.
Yeah, I'm out in Chadds Ford.
Oh, nice. I'm Roseanne. I haven't been on for a little bit.
And I'm Susan Parker.
Okay. Hi, Susan.
Hi.
Nice to meet you.
I'm not far from where Patty lives, really.
Oh, good. Are you going
Yeah.
to the Monday class as well?
No, I kind of like to do it online.
Yeah, me too.
And our Monday class, the 10 o'clock would be online. So we'll have to ask Patty.
Yeah, I think she's trying it in September to see how it works in person.
Yeah. Well, I could easily get there, but it's so convenient to be at home.
True.
I agree.
Yeah. So Mike, you changed the 10 o'clock to online on Monday, or what do you think?
Well, here's why I'm doing it in person in September, because I sent out a survey and asked if the survey participants would be interested in taking class in person, and overwhelmingly people said yes.
Oh, right.
So
Yeah.
I thought, okay, maybe I should be offering these classes in person. So I decided to try offering the Monday class at 10 o'clock in person only to see how that went. I did try one time a couple months ago to offer it as a hybrid, and that really was too much for my brain to handle. And the people who actually came to class felt like they got cheated because I was paying too much attention to the people on Zoom.
Right.
So that's why I decided to offer it in person only, and just as a test in September to see how it worked out. And quite honestly, it hasn't worked out as well as I thought it would.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, they
So
want to be online then.
I got 20 responses to my survey, and literally at least 15 to 17 people said they would come to class in person. Would want to come to class in person. So I thought maybe I would get 4 or 5. The first week I had nobody signed up. The second week I had 5 people signed up, which I was really excited about, but 2 of them made a mistake and thought it was on Zoom. So then it wound up being 3. And then the next week I had 2 only. And this week I had nobody signed. Next week I have nobody signed up. So
Good. Well, maybe you'll try online then.
so I think it'll probably go back to being online.
Oh, good. Well, I won't
Yeah.
be able to come this Monday. I'm actually going to New York for 2 days.
Oh, okay. That sounds nice. Yeah, actually, I'm not going to be teaching this Monday. It's going to be Rita teaching. I know Roseanne knows Rita, but Rita is a teacher who also practiced Pilates in my class quite a bit when I taught at Pure Yoga. And now she's teaching Pilates mat the last couple of years. So she's going to be subbing for me on Monday. I'm going to be at a training in Boston over the weekend.
Oh, that'd be nice.
Yeah, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday is the training. And then on Monday, I'm flying back later, and I'm going to just take some, classes or whatever at that studio on Monday morning before I come home.
Right.
So it's going to be a fun-filled Pilates weekend for me. And I'm really excited. I've been working with these people in Boston over Zoom for probably close to a year and a half now, throughout the whole pandemic. And I haven't met any of them in person yet. So I'm really excited to meet these people in person. And take some sessions and some classes with a couple of these teachers that I've worked with. So yeah, I'm really excited about it. Anyway, today is obviously stretching for stress relief. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Make sure you have your strap. I have a stretchy band. If you don't have a yoga strap, you can use that, or you can use a towel. And I have a yoga bolster here to lie on. If you don't have one of these, most people don't, I understand that. You can use a sofa cushion. You just want it to be something that has a little bit of length and is, maybe a couple inches. A really good option if you don't really have anything like this, Roseanne has a foam roller there, is to roll up maybe a blanket to lay on. That would be nice. Or, put a couple towels together and roll that up like a cigar. It'll be nice and long enough for your spine and your head. So you could do that as well. So we're going to go ahead and get started with the upper back stretch. So you're going to place your prop long ways on the mat. So it looks like this. Darling, I'm like Vanna White. It looks like this. Okay. So long ways on your mat. And then you're going to have a seat about 6 inches in front of the prop. Roseanne, are you using the half roller or the full roller there?
Half roller.
Half. Okay. All right. So with the
What do you
half
think?
roller, yeah, with the half roller, I would recommend you can do flat or round side up. And I would also recommend sitting a couple inches in front of it and then lying the rest of your spine on the roller with a prop behind your head. If you have a prop like this and your bum is on the floor and your spine is on the prop, then make sure you have a little prop behind your head as well, so your neck isn't too stressed out, okay? I'm gonna go ahead and mute everyone, and then if you have a question while we're working or about a position of a stretch, then go ahead and unmute yourself and ask the question, okay? So we're going to be in the stretch for a couple of minutes. And remember, if your bum is on the floor and your spine is on the prop, make sure you have a little prop for behind your head. So Roseanne, you just need something nice and low behind your head there, maybe an inch or two, okay? Nothing really huge. Maybe you could roll up a towel or something. So my prop's pretty high. I'm going to use a yoga block behind my head. Roseanne, you could use one of those sponges if you have one of those. And then find a position where this feels okay for your low back. So if my pelvis is too close to the end of the prop, then I have too much stress in my low back. So if I move away a little bit, then that lets my low back relax a little bit more. So the end of the prop is right about my bottom ribs. And then the prop behind your head is just so your neck is nice and relaxed. So your arms are going to be out to the sides with your palms facing up. And you're just going to relax into this. So if you're unable to relax into this, come on off, scoot your bum away from the prop a little further, and then go ahead and lie back down with the prop behind your head. Each time you breathe in, think about your ribs expanding toward the ceiling and out to the sides. And each time you breathe out, draw your belly in and up. Like you're going to pull your belly button up toward your ribs. Allowing the shoulders to open here. So just let your shoulders drape around your prop. And let your arms hang down to the floor. And if your prop is pretty high like mine, then you might need something underneath your arms. If you have tightness a lot of tightness in the front of your shoulder, or if you have a shoulder issue. Once you've been here for a minute or so, if this feels pretty good for you, then go ahead and try lengthening your legs out onto the mat. And that'll give you a little more opening through that upper spine. It'll give you a little more opening through the front of the belly and the front of the hips. Continue with your breathing here. So you're going to breathe in. Let's breathe in for a count of 4. Pause and breathe out for a count of 5. You can breathe in through your nose and out through your nose. Three more nice, long, slow breaths here. Bring your hands behind your head. Lift your head up with your hands. Roll over onto your side and come on off your prop. We're going to keep that prop on the mat and then we're going to sit on it. So you can sit with your legs crisscross, or if this doesn't feel good for you, you can have your legs out in front, whatever feels best for you, okay? So it's a nice, comfortable seated position. And then we're gonna do some side stretches here. So we're gonna reach both arms up toward the sky, and then we're gonna side bend over to the right. A nice side bend here. Breathing into that left side and breathing out. One more time, breathing into the left side and breathing out. And come on back up, and then we'll side bend to the other side. Breathe in, imagine your ribs getting further away from each other on that right side. Breathe out. This time when you breathe in, imagine your hip and your armpit getting further away from each other. Breathe in and breathe out. Come on back up, and then we'll do a little more dynamic movement. So if you were going to go for a long walk or do something that really involves repetitive motion, walking, running, that kind of thing, then you really would want to do this dynamic stretching before you do your activity, and then do your static stretching after your activity. One more time to each side. And then we're going to come back up. We're going to reach the arms out to the side, and then we're going to turn the arms with the palms face back, and then reach the arms behind you. If it's available to you, interlace the fingers. Your palms don't have to be together here. You can just have the fingers gently interlace. And then we're going to take a breath in, breathe in for that count of 4. Pause and breathe out for that count of 5. So imagine when you breathe in, your spine extending and your heart and your chest reaching forward and up. And then when you breathe out, your spine rounds a little bit, your shoulders relax, your ribs drop down toward your belly. Couple more times. It's a little mini seated cat and cow here. Inhaling, making sure that you're staying right on top of those sitting bones as you inhale. One more time. Breathe in and breathe out. We're going to release the arms, shake out those shoulders, and we're going to bring the left arm up like it's half a goalpost, and then bring it across with your hand behind the elbow, giving the back of the shoulder a little stretch. Take a breath in between your shoulder blades. Imagine the breath going to your back body. Breathe in and breathe out. One more time, breathe in and breathe out. Shake that arm out. We'll do the same thing with the other arm, drawing it across. You might notice one arm is tighter than that, one shoulder is tighter than the other. Breathe in and breathe out. One more time, breathe in and breathe out. This time we're going to release the arm, shake out the shoulders. We're going to interlace those fingers behind the back again. And then we're going to bring those hands over toward the right hip. So you can see my knuckles here peeking out. If your hands don't get that far, it's totally fine. We want to keep the spine upright. So start in the center, make your spine nice and upright, and then nice and slowly slide your hands over toward that right hip, only as far as you can go without creating tension or pain in that left shoulder. Breathe in without side bending, breathe out. 2 more breaths, breathe in, breathe out. This time let that left shoulder hike up a little bit and then draw down and back. 1 more breath, breathe in, breathe out. And then we'll go to the middle and you can shake out those arms. And then we'll interlace the fingers and we'll bring the hands over to that, toward that left hip. Once again, start in the middle with your spine nice and tall, and then nice and slowly slide those hands over without side bending, without creating strain in that right shoulder. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Let that right shoulder hike up and then draw it down and back on your back here. It might not move very much at all. Breathe in, that's fine. Just think about widening the collarbones there a little bit. Breathe out. And then release those arms, shake out those shoulders. And then we're going to take the right arm up to the side like a goalpost. And we're going to let it turn down toward the floor. And then we're going to turn it up toward the sky. And we're just going to do that a couple times, turning. Imagine that arm bone just turning in that shoulder joint. This is a ball and socket joint as well, just like your hip. And this arm bone is this arm and shoulder. This is the only joint in your body that can actually go in a full-on circle. Ideally, if you had no stuck tissue in that shoulder area. And then relax that, and then we'll do it to the other side. So go in a range of motion that feels comfortable for you, okay? So going all the way down might not feel good for you, that's totally fine, or all the way up might not feel good for you. And you'll notice probably one arm moves more freely than the other. I felt like my other arm could move without moving my elbow. And this arm, the elbow is kind of wagging around a little bit, so it's okay. One side's always stiffer than the other, and then relax it and shake it out. And we'll do a couple side bends to each side again, just letting those arms kind of swing in the air. Finish up whatever set you're on, and then we're going to come on off our prop. Move it to the side, out of the way. And we're going to come on to all fours and do some cat and cow here. Remember, on all fours, if you have wrist issues, you can place the fist on the floor like this with the wrist nice and long, or you can place some padding underneath your wrist. You can place padding under your knees if this is too much for your knees. We're going to inhale, let the spine extend, let the tail stick out. Imagine the heart reaching forward. And then we're going to exhale to curl the tail under like a scared dog, and the upper back rounds, the head drops down toward the floor, just let it hang there, and then inhale, come back out, and then exhale. We're going to round, really press your feet, your shins, your knees, your hands, whatever's touching the floor. Press it down and then draw your mid spine up toward the ceiling and then inhale. So imagine your spine moving like a wave here. Nice and sequential from the bottom to the top, top to the bottom. And we'll do one more. And then we're going to settle into a neutral spine. We're going to wag the tail side to side here a couple times. Draw your belly in. Your tailbone's reaching right behind you. And then we're going to reach the right leg back with the toes tucked. And we're going to let the heel drop to the outside and inside, letting that thigh bone turn in the hip joint. It's a nice stretch when it drops out for the outer part of the foot, the outer part of the shin. And when it drops in, it's the opposite. Nice stretch for the inner part of the shin or calf, wherever you're the tightest. And then come back to the middle, and we're going to push the toes to point the foot, and then we're going to push with the hands to push the heel back. So we're just going to kind of rock back and forth here a couple times. Getting that ankle moving in all directions. And then we're going to bring that leg back in, and we're going to take a break here. So give your wrists a little love. I like to put my index finger and my thumb around the wrist like a really tight bracelet, and then just kind of drag it around the wrist where it meets the arm meets the hand. And then make sure you do both. There's a band of fascial tissue here right at your wrist. And when this gets really tight, this is one of the things that contributes to carpal tunnel syndrome. So just giving it this little massage and really dragging it is going to help bring hydration into that wrist. This would be a good thing to do every day if you tend to be tight there. And then we're going to come back up and we're going to do the other leg. So you're going to be in your neutral spine here, belly's drawing up, and you're going to reach that left leg back, and then you're going to just let it go out and in. So imagine your heel is like a pendulum. It's going side to side. It's like, what's that called? A metronome, probably a better example, because a metronome, it moves at the top, a pendulum moves at the bottom. And then come back to the center, and you're going to push into the toes to point the foot, and then you're going to push into the hands to push back and flex the foot. And you're getting a little movement in that calf and that ankle. Try to focus on pushing off all 5 toes here, not just the big toe side, not just the pinky toe side. And then we're going to bring that knee back in, and we're going to bring that foot forward next to the left thumb. So if you can't get the foot forward there, just bring the foot to wherever you can get it, help it with your hand, and then move your other knee back until that foot is underneath the knee. You're going to come on up until your front knee is a 90-degree angle here. If you need, put some padding underneath that right knee, and we're going to do a little hamstring and thigh stretch. So we're going to sit the hips back toward the heels, lean the spine forward a little bit. And then we're going to exhale, draw the belly in and up and tuck the tail. And then we're going to lean the hips forward until we feel a little opening through the front of that right thigh. And then we're going to sit the hips back, and we're going to lean forward. Now, if this is too much for your balance, or it's too much for your back knee or your front leg, you can have yoga blocks underneath your hands. So if you have yoga blocks, it's really great to have them up on this higher level. And then that way you don't need to round your spine. So we're hinging the hips forward and then leaning back. Make sure you're shifting the weight onto this front leg as you come forward to take some of the pressure off that back knee. If you don't have the yoga blocks, you can use that prop that you had earlier that you laid on, and you can have your hands on that as well, okay? So I know everyone doesn't have yoga blocks, so you can do this as an option. And then we're going to go ahead and switch legs. So bring that left leg back. Find your center here. Maybe rock your hips side to side a little bit. And then we're going to bring the right foot forward. Some days that's easier than others. So the front ankle is underneath the front knee, and they're going to come up into your kneeling position. Grab your prop, okay? And then we're going to sit the hips back, lean the spine forward, draw the belly in and up. Shh. And then we're going to shift the hips forward. So my shin's coming toward my props. And then I'm going to shift the hips back, lengthening through that front leg a little bit. Didn't do any exercise yesterday. I got to the end of the day and I'm like, what did I do? Oh, I just decided to take the day off, and now I feel really stiff today. So maybe just a little bit of movement would have been good for me yesterday. So if you don't have the right prop for this, it's okay. If this doesn't feel comfortable for you, that's okay too. You can just go ahead and take a child's pose and wait until we move to the next thing. I'm trying to keep my spine long here as I sit back, and I'm trying to keep it nice and long as I hinge forward. This is nice mobility for the ankle of that front leg. And then we're going to go ahead and bring that leg back, move the prop out of the way again. And then we're going to do a couple cat and cows again. Okay. So when you're there, you can go ahead and start tucking the tail, rounding the spine, dropping the head down, and then inhaling to curl out. The tail feathers stick out, and the heart reaches forward. And then exhale. Imagine you're rounding up over a ball with your whole spine, and then you're inhaling like a wave. Your spine curls out into the opposite shape. Coming up over that ball, and then curling out into that opposite shape. And then we'll take a child's pose again. Remember, if child's pose doesn't feel good for you, it's a thing for your knees. You can place a block behind your bum and sit back. This is a little less requirement on range of motion for your knees. It's a little nicer. Breathe in, breathe out. And then we're going to come on over onto our back. So to have the feet flat and knees bent. And notice here, does this lying on your back, does this feel comfortable for you? Do you feel a little nice little low back curve, or does it feel like your ribs are popping up and it's a big giant arch all the way from the top to the bottom? If you're feeling that the ribs are popping up, you have that huge arch. Exhale breath, draw your ribs down a little bit. If you're still feeling that big arch, place a little prop behind your head, maybe an inch high or so, just to lift your head up and let your ribs relax down. Bring your hands onto the center of your chest, right around the bra line. It's not really the center of your chest, but right around the bra line in the middle of your torso. And you're going to take a breath in, and then as you breathe out, imagine your hands are a warm sandbag, just helping those ribs melt down into the floor. We'll do that a couple more times. So close your eyes here, breathe in, and then breathe out. That warm sandbag just melts those back ribs into the floor. They just kind of melt down and spread out to the sides. One more time, breathe in, and then breathe out. And then we're going to draw the right knee in toward the chest. Here's where, if you have a yoga strap or a stretchy band or a towel, beach towel, bath towel, go ahead and grab it. Make sure you just have it right to the side there. And we're going to draw that right knee in toward the chest, and we're going to kind of draw it in a little bit and release it a little bit. And as you do that, notice your pelvis might move with your leg. That's okay. We're just getting a little movement in that low back where the pelvis meets the low back. Relax those ribs down. Remember to have that warm sandbag, melting them down toward the floor. And then bring your right hand onto that knee. Let your left hand settle onto your chest to encourage those ribs to relax down. And then you're going to draw that knee out to the side a little bit. Imagine it's going toward your armpit. Now try to keep that left knee pointing toward the ceiling. And then we're going to use that right arm to stir that thigh bone around in the hip joint. So pause at the top, press down into the thigh bone with the hand to kind of anchor it down into the hip socket, and then make little circles. So we're not drawing that knee all the way in toward the chest. I'm just kind of stirring that thigh bone. It's like you're stirring a teaspoon in a teacup. A little circle. And then we're going to hug that knee in one more time. Interlace your fingers behind the leg. Lengthen your arms here. So your thigh may or may not come to perpendicular, depending on how long your arms are. And then you're going to lengthen and bend that leg. Just maybe 6 or 8 times. And this dynamic movement. As you lengthen that leg, think about the quad, the muscles in the front of the leg engaging to lengthen that leg. And think about that hamstring, the muscles in the back of the leg, relaxing. And then last time, you're going to lengthen that leg into the air. Notice how close you can get to straight up and down with that leg. Notice how much pull you have in the back of the leg, and then bend your knee, relax it for a moment. This time we're going to press that right thigh into the hands. Now, if this is stressful for your shoulders, you can take your band around the back of the leg. I would double it up. Take a band around the back of the leg and then hold the band nice and firm with your arms. And then you're going to press the leg into the band or the hands and then lengthen the leg up toward the sky. And then nice and slowly, you're going to bend it back down. Nice and slowly, you're going to bend it up, lengthen it up, not bend it up, lengthen it up, and then bend it back down. Keep melting those ribs down toward the mat. Last time, nice and slowly lengthen it up, and then bend it down. Release your strap, interlace your fingers behind your leg like you had before, and then lengthen that leg toward the sky and see if maybe you can get it a little closer to straight, a little closer to straight up and down. And then bend it, and we'll move to the other side. Interlacing those fingers behind the leg. You're going to kind of rock it back and forth, hugging it in and releasing it. It's like you're pumping a pump here, a pump handle. And then we're going to take that left hand onto the knee. Imagine you're pressing the thigh bone down into the hip joint, and then we're going to draw it toward the armpit. And then we're going to bring it back up to the middle, and then you're going to press down so the thigh bone kind of hugs into the hip joint, and then make your little teacup circles with your teaspoon, just stirring your tea gently. Make sure you're getting all the way to the bottom of your teacup. Maybe there's some sugar down there you want to mix in. And then interlace the fingers behind the leg. And then we're going to lengthen and bend. maybe 6 or 8 times here, moving at your own pace, whatever feels good for you, whatever range of motion feels good for you. Remember, when you lengthen that leg, think about that quadricep, the muscle in the front of the leg engaging, and the muscles in the back of the leg relaxing. And then we're going to hug that leg in. If you use a strap on the other side, use the strap on this side. Bring it around the back of the leg. And then you're going to hold it nice and firm with your arms so your arms don't move. Looks like a static bicep curl. Now press the leg into the bands. Make sure your ribs stay down. And then nice and slowly, we're going to lengthen that leg up toward the sky. And then we're going to bend it down with control. Relax it a little bit. Press the thigh into the band. Don't let the arms move. And then nice and slowly. So you're pushing into the band with the leg, and the band is pushing back into the leg. And then bend it down. Relax it one more time. Press the leg into the band into the leg. Keep that tension as you nice and slowly lengthen that leg. And then lower it down. And then we'll release the band off. Interlace the fingers behind the leg. And then lengthen that leg toward the sky. See if you have a little less tension in the back of the leg. Maybe you can get that leg a little closer to straight. Hug that knee in toward the chest. Draw that left leg in. Now we'll hug both legs in at the same time. And then you can make little circles like you're stirring those wooden spoons in that bowl of oatmeal, the pot of oatmeal. And then hug the knees in, take a breath in, and breathe out, relax. One more time, breathe in, and breathe out, relax. This time we're going to do a little stretch for the outer hip. So you're going to bring your left ankle over your right knee. So your legs look like they're making, if your right leg was long, it would look like your legs are making a number 4. My left foot is slightly flexed here. I'm not flexing it as much as I can, but I'm not letting my foot hang down. I'm just drawing my toes toward the ceiling. And then I'm going to place my left hand on the inside of my left knee. And I'm just going to press it away a little bit as I push my thigh into my leg. And I'm going to bring it, relax it. I'm going to do that 2 more times. So I'm going to press away into the leg as I push the leg into the hand equally. So the hand presses away as the thigh presses into the hand equally. You don't really get very much movement here. Make sure your ribs are still melting toward the floor. One more time. And then we're going to take a breath in, relax that hand away from the leg, breathe out, draw your low back toward the floor. And if it feels okay for you, bring that other foot off of the floor and then let that heel hang down toward the bum cheek. And then hopefully you're feeling a little stretch here in the side hip. We're going to bring the right hand onto the right knee if you can reach it. If you can't, you can bring the band behind the leg just like we did before, and then hold onto the band here. And then we're going to do a little pumping here. So we're going to draw the leg in and release it maybe 5 or 6 times. And then we're going to release that. Then we're going to draw it in and we're going to hold it there maybe for about 30 seconds. So you have a gentle stretch in this outer hip. If you're feeling this all the way down into the knee, release it a little bit. Relax your left foot and then flex your toes towards your shins gently. And see if you can release that tension in your knee. And then we're going to release that and we're going to switch to the other side. So that right ankle is going to come over the left knee. So you can't really see because my socks are the same color as my pants. Sorry about that. But, my ankle is about a couple inches above my knee. And then we're going to take that right hand onto the inner right thigh, right near where the knee is. And then we're going to press out into the leg. So that pressing the leg away. And at the same time, we're going to use the muscles in the inner thigh to push into the hand at the same time. Your ribs stay relaxed and melted toward the floor, and your pelvis is nice and relaxed on the floor. Release that. Do that 2 more times, pressing into the leg and then pressing the leg into the hand equally. And release it 1 more time. You can use an exhale breath here to engage your core, to help keep your core engaged and keep your low back protected. And then release that. And then if it feels okay for your low back, exhale breath, draw your low back down, draw your belly in and bring that other leg off the floor, foot off the floor. Bring your band or your strap or whatever behind that thigh or hold on, behind that thigh or hold on to that knee. So you could, if you can't comfortably reach with your hands, then the strap behind the leg is great. And then we're going to draw the leg in and release it out using the strength of the arms, not the muscles in the hip or the thigh. Couple more times. And then we're going to release that. And we're going to hug the leg in toward the chest and hold it there for a little static stretch. The ribs melt down to the floor. The belly's drawing in. On your next exhale breath, see if you can let that pelvis relax down onto the floor. So imagine more of the back of your pelvis touching the floor. So we're not curling the hips up off the floor. We're trying to let the hips relax onto the floor. And then we're going to release that. Bring the feet a little wider than the hips and let the knees knock toward each other. Take a nice big breath in here. Breathe out. Let your ribs melt into the floor. And then we're going to nice and slowly windshield wiper those legs. So when the legs go to the right, the left leg internally rotates, the left leg externally rotates, and vice versa. Making this movement only as big or small as you can without creating stress in your low back. So your ribs are staying mostly still. And this movement mostly is coming from those thigh bones moving around in the hip joint, not from the pelvis rotating. Your pelvis can rotate a little bit here. We don't want it to rotate so much that your ribs and your shoulder come off the floor. And there's a lot of real estate here between your bum cheek and the floor. We're trying to release tension in the low back, not create more. Couple more times. And then this time, let your legs go over to the right in your comfortable range of motion. And then we'll just stop there for a couple breaths. Breathe in, breathe out. Try to have those left ribs and that left shoulder on the floor here. So if you need to adjust and limit your range of motion to keep the rib and the shoulder down, then go ahead and do that. Breathe in, breathe out. One more breath in and one more breath out. And then we're going to bring the legs back to the middle. Just kind of wiggle your pelvis around a little bit. Find the center here where you're equally weighted left and right. And then we're going to go to the other side. So you might kind of have to play around with the position of your feet a little bit. Remember, the right ribs, the right shoulder are really trying to stay on the floor here. Two more breaths. One more breath. Breathe in for that count of 4. Pause. Breathe out for that count of 5. Bring the legs back to the middle. Bring your feet back to hip distance. Rock your knees side to side just a little bit, finding the center of your pelvis on the floor. Your hips are lined up with your shoulders. Your spine is in one neutral long line. Take a big breath in and breathe out. Bring your hands onto those ribs. Imagine your hands are that warm sandbag. Breathe in. Breathe out. Let those ribs melt down toward the floor and out to the sides. One more time, breathe in. Pause. Breathe out. Carefully roll over onto your side. Use your top arm to help press you up to seated. Nice and slowly, if you start to get dizzy, lie back down because we were lying on the ground for quite a while. Once you're there, go ahead and take your easiest seated position. I'm going to sit on my prop. Let's bring those hands into the center of the chest. Close the eyes. Imagine your head right over your shoulders, your shoulders right over your ribs, and your ribs right over your hips. Your hips are relaxed, your knees, your feet, the muscles in your thighs are relaxed. Take a big breath in for the count of 4, nice and slowly. Pause and breathe out for 5. One more time, breathe in. And breathe out. Open your eyes. If you had your eyes closed, reach your arms up toward the sky and then exhale, press your arms down like you're pushing down into water to let your spine lengthen. One more time, breathe in and breathe out. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed class. I hope you feel a little more relaxed, a little less stressed now than when you joined me.
Thank you, Patty.
Thank you. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you're feeling super relaxed, ready for your weekend. I'm so excited about the weekend, even though I have to drive 2 hours tomorrow to a cross-country meet.
Oh, wow.
We're going to be in Carlisle, Pennsylvania. So it's like near Harrisburg, I think.
Right.
Oh,
I've
yeah.
never actually driven to that part of Pennsylvania before. So
I
what do you
think
guys
have a
what do
lot
you
of
guys-
old cars or something there.
in Carlisle, really?
Yeah, I think so.
Interesting. What do you guys think? Should I take the Biden-Harris sticker off the back of my car before I go there?
No.
I don't know.
You think
We
Harris
worked
already-
hard to get Pennsylvania. You got to keep it up.
Are they out there? Were they Trump supporters or Biden out there?
I don't know. That's what I'm thinking. Like, wait a
I don't-
minute. I know Erie is Trump. but I'm trying to think. I think Harrisburg is Biden, but around Harrisburg is not Biden, I think. So, so yeah, I guess I'll leave it on there. I'm just, I'm just thinking positive here.
That's
That's
right.
the way I feel.
Right.
I
And
was
I-
at a, I was at a fundraiser the other night for my friend who's a state representative in the 12th district. And also for a senator who is a state senator in the 5th Senate district. And so it's Krista Griffith and Kyle Evans Gay. And it's so hard to believe that already there's going to be fundraising and campaigning starting for the 2022 election cycle. So anyway, if any of you want to join me with canvassing or knocking doors, you're welcome to join me. Or calling. You don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to see anyone in person. You can do calls as well.
Yeah.
Let me know if you're interested in that kind of thing. My friend Krista would really appreciate your help. She's a Democrat. Sorry, Susan, I don't know if you're a Democrat or Republican.
I'm an independent, but I did vote for Biden. But I voted
okay.
I voted for Maine, and I voted for Susan Collins up there because she is a moderate Republican.
Right.
So,
Yes.
that's the way I am. I can swing in either direction, but I really couldn't stand Trump. So, and I go up and down Barley Mill Road all the time to see Betsy McCoy and Valerie Lee. So Biden's often back on the weekends.
Yeah. So were you an Angus King supporter?
No, I never really get involved in politics, I must say.
Oh, okay. Okay. Because I know Angus King was an independent or
Yeah.
is an independent.
Exactly. Well, I
Yeah.
really know what's going on in Maine, but I was an absentee voter, having lived out of the country for so long, and I just happened to vote for Maine. So I'm going to switch to Pennsylvania now.
Ah, gotcha.
I don't-
Back to blue PA.
Yeah, I don't give to any candidate. I really
Yeah. No, I'm not asking anyone to give money,
No.
time is just
No.
as valuable. So,
But
anyway,
in the next big election, Biden will really be too old. So I don't know who they're going to find.
yeah, I don't really know. I mean, I know he's not coming out right now and saying that he's not going to run again, but I can't imagine that he would. I mean, he was 78 when he became president.
Yeah, really.
And he already looks worse for the wear, and it hasn't even been 1 year yet. So,
They all.
He's had a tough year. It's not
yeah, a really tough year.
really tough
I
year.
remember how much older Obama looked.
Oh, yes.
At the end of his presidency.
Exactly. And now he looks great.
Yeah.
Yeah, he looks really relaxed, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Patty, very much. And I'll miss you next Friday because I have a memorial service for a niece.
Oh,
Same
I'm sorry.
7 from cancer a year and a half ago. So we're finally getting the family together and everything. So I won't see you on Friday.
Well, good news for
But
you.
maybe,
And there's no stretching class next week because I'm going to be in Boston on
Okay.
Friday. So Rita's just teaching the 10 o'clock class.
Okay.
And if you're interested, Susan, the Monday class is going to be on Zoom, and my friend Kim is teaching it, and her teaching is definitely a lot more stretching and kind of gentle oriented. So when she teaches her Pilates class, because she's a newer teacher, so if you want to try out her class, I think that would be a good place to start with the Pilates.
great. Okay.
Okay,
Thanks,
so
Patty.
that's on Monday, the 4th.
Right.
Okay.
Good.
Okay. All right,
Perfect.
well, I'm going to go ahead and hop off. Thank you
All
so
right.
much, ladies.
I'll see you at the next class. I'm going to try and do the both today. See
Okay.
if I
Great.
survive.
Okay. All right, great, Roseanne.
Bye,
Thank you, ladies.
Susan.
Bye,
Thanks.
Susan.
Bye.